Alright guys, it's project day. On this video we're going to show you how to fix up those leather seats. This is our S500 project car that are kind of scuffed up or getting marked up or even just getting some of those lines in them. I've tried out a bunch of different methods and some worked really well. This one here we're going to do it the way you can just go down to the auto parts store, pick up these things. It's probably the easiest way. Some of the other methods I've done, I've used straight spray paint, and the problem with that is I couldn't find a nice flat color that matched what I wanted to have, so ended up having to sand it down, scuff it up, and get that flat color back into it, and then I had to reapply, and it just became a pain in the butt, and it took hours and hours and hours to dry. It was very tacky for almost a full day. So I went and picked up Dupli Color vinyl fabric. This here is desert sand, and I even played around with doing like two-tone seats, which you can definitely do if you got the time and patience to tape off, mask off. I didn't like the way it looked on the S500, so I removed it, and that's what we're at right now. We're actually putting a new coat of this down the middle, so I'm going to show you guys where we're at. But the first process to doing this, after testing everything out, is you want to get yourself a nice scuff pad or maybe 1,000 grit wet sandpaper and just rough up the seats. Then you want to take some mineral spirits or maybe even some alcohol, but I found that the mineral spirits worked really well, and just wipe down the seats. Make sure you use gloves during this, and make sure you pick up a mask and some gloves for when you're painting. I'm already cleaned the seats down, scuffed them and everything, so I'm going to be just wearing the mask when I go ahead and paint, because you will get a lot of this in the air as you're painting. And that takes me to the next thing, where you're going to want to pick up some of the drop cloths and some painter's tape. I guess I didn't grab the drop cloth, but I got them out in the car. That's where we're going to go right now. I'm going to show you where we're at. Alright guys, now we're out at the car. This is the drop cloths I picked up from Walmart, 98 cents a piece. So go ahead and grab a bunch of those, and you'll see here I just laid it across the dashboard. I'd already painted the center console, so I laid that over it, and I laid it over my back seats. You can even cover up there. We are going to be painting those back seats, so I wasn't too concerned. I just didn't want anybody getting in and having overspray all over. So right now what we've got is one thin coat, and you can see here on most of the parts here. And what I found, because this is the second time I'm going to be painting this, is the first round I wasn't allowed it to dry enough, and I was actually getting a lot of overspray. So what I'm going to recommend is spray a coat. This stuff dries very fast. That's why I went really quick with it last time. So spray a coat. Try to get into these edges first. You know, get a real light mist on here and just keep hitting those each time you do a coat, because those are the hardest parts to hit, is down below. And of course you have to mask all that off and tape that off, especially if you have a different color. This is actually a very close color, so I wasn't overly concerned with that. I'm going to really clean those pieces up anyways from here out. But in between coats, once you know that it's dry, go ahead and take a dry, either just a terry cloth towel or a microfiber towel, and wipe it down. And I'm going to show you how much overspray we got, and that was kind of messing up the coats that I was putting on there. And you'll see, yeah, you can see there's some overspray there, but you'll get overspray all over the dash and so forth if you don't mask it off like that. And I'm going to show you over here. So after doing our first coat, I think I went too heavy, because a lot of the wrinkles that actually started to disappear came back. So I'm going to rough those up really hard with the pad, and then get those filled in and just do a bunch of light coats. You can even see here, just from me sitting on these seats, it started to crack. And then we're going to actually apply it once it's fully dry with a nice leather softener conditioner. And I'm going to go ahead and let me see if I can get this camera set up so I can show you guys just spraying a coat on this upper section here. Also, these cans are these Dupli Color cans here are very finicky. If you don't get the right angles, they won't spray, and you got to really shake them up. So make sure you shake it up for a few minutes before you start. And like always, spray it off to the side. Make sure the nozzle's clear. But I'm going to show you guys how light of a coat I'm doing on these, and I'm going across the whole seat here so we don't get any funky drying marks. We want to make sure this looks very consistent when it dries. And I'm gonna get up in here, make sure my coats are going on even. And that's about it on your coat. Hopefully you guys could see that as I was doing that. Nice real light coat on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do about 3 or 4 coats on this, and then come back and show you guys the final product. Alright guys, this is how it's going to look after about coat number 2. We're going to just hit this with one more coat, and you're going to see maybe some uneven spots, and some of that is just some of the overspray. And what we can do, I did this last time, is take our like a less coarse Brillo pad, one of the finer Brillo pads, or even like a 2000, 3000 grit sandpaper, and you can see here where it dried a little bit, and we can even that out. And then when we put our leather conditioner on there, it's going to make it look really even. But you can see in here where I got a nice even coat. And of course my final coat, I'm going to get on there nice, a little bit heavier, and get a nice good wet coat on there. And one of the things that I wanted to point out is it says it will allow 30 minutes to dry. This stuff dries in about 5 minutes, so I'm putting about 15-20 minute dry time on it, and I'm not having any issues. So once again, I'll show you guys the final product. Probably upload this video so you have an idea of how to apply it, how it looks, and then what I'll do is do another video when we apply the leather conditioner and the final look of the item in maybe like a month or 2. Alright guys, thanks very much for tuning in. I'm Peter. This is another update of the S500 project car, and we're doing the seats. Thank you guys very much.